Hey everyone, this is Stacy with SF Johnson Family and Community Services. And in this video, I want to begin our comprehensive understanding of the caste system, CASTE. And that is the system that it's a system that originated in India. The caste system, it's a social hierarchy, that has existed there for centuries. And it's based on the principles of birthright, and it assigns individuals of different social classes based on their ancestry. So for them, at the top of the hierarchy are the Brahmins, who traditionally were the priests and the scholars. And then they were followed by, and forgive my pronunciation, the Kshatriyas, who were the warriors and the rulers. And then the Vaishyas, Vaishyas, what they're called doesn't matter. It's the system that we're here to talk about. Who were the merchants? They were the merchants and the traders. And at the very bottom of the hierarchy were the Dalits. And they were formerly known as the Untouchables. They were considered to be outside the caste system. And so, they were called the outcast. The caste system has had a significant impact on Indian society, and I would happen to say on American society. And it's led to discrimination and equality there, here, and everywhere. I believe here it's more disguised. We're so considered with race and racism in this country that we don't realize we're stuck in a caste system to where, and I'm talking specifically for African Americans, I'm talking about us, of course, that who knows that no matter how much money you make in this country, you're still treated as if you don't, just like a regular, what? How many of us know that certain things happen to us or are allowed to happen to us that's not allowed to happen to anybody else? Even in my own life, I've experienced things that people have done to me that if I was a Caucasian woman of the same age, would have never happened. But see, that's when you get paid, right? Because people do stuff that they do to you because they look at the color of your skin and they just think it's okay. But see, we need to understand that in this country has led everybody astray. It's led white people astray, let them think they can just do anything to us. And it's led black people astray, to make them think they're powerless to get over this. And our leaders I don't even know. They should really be the first ones to join the caste club. There are 9 pillars of caste. And I am going over this wonderful book written by Isabel Wilkerson, Caste, The Origins of Our Discontent. Because if we understand that system, we will more than understand the system that we're living under, and we'll be able to do something about it. So, we're like the Dalits, okay? So, let me go back to the Indian system, because that's where we get in. When you join the Caste Club, we're going to read that book together. We're going to get together, and we'll be able to comment together. And we can't do it on YouTube because of certain parts of the book are copyright and certain parts are not, and I can't afford to risk that. And so you join on our website, sfjfamilyservices.org. You'll be given a private link where we can listen together. You'll be given the times where we meet. But I'm going to try to continue with my explanation of this caste system in terms of the Indian culture, because they still live under it today. Say the caste system that had a significant impact again on the Indian society, and it's led to discrimination and inequality. The Dalits, in particular, have faced significant discrimination, including restricted access to education. That sounds like us. Restricted access to jobs. That sounds like us. Restricted access to housing. That sounds like us. Okay, despite legal protection, sounds like us. Discrimination against the Dalits continues to be a problem in India today. Sounds like us. Okay, so the origins of the caste system are complex and they debated by historians all over the place, but I'm talking about America, and you will see the similarities when we get into this book and we start to get into it. And in particular, what I want to try to put here, at least on my social media channels, are the 9 pillars that Isabel Wilkerson outlines, and it'll give you a clear understanding. Okay, some believe that the system developed was a way to preserve social order, right? In the Indian system. Yes, of course, right? While others argue that it may have been influenced by ancient religion. So that's interesting, because the first pillar of caste, and there are 9, okay, that we want to discuss here, is God's divine will, so they say. Okay, that it was God's divine will. Okay, so in India today, many Indians reject the caste system. That's why they come to this country. That's why they come to this country. And they refuse to be associated with the untouchables here. Us, African Americans. Everybody that comes to this country knows. Stay away from the Black American untouchables. Because we are the Dalits. We are those people. We just don't know where it came from. But once you know where some crazy stuff comes from, you know how to stop it. Okay, so they've been fighting that. They're working for a more equal society in India. I don't know how well it's working. I don't study that. I'm studying us. But this caste system, this is what we are living. We're living under soft caste. Okay, initiatives like affirmative action over there have been implemented. Yeah, here too. But now it's all of a sudden reverse racism when a black person gets in and a white person who's been getting in forever cannot. So I want you to listen with me right now, and hopefully we can get this over. And if not, I'm going to edit this and stop it where I am going to begin with our first pillar. Divine will, God's divine will. Here we go.
Pillar number 1, divine will and the laws of nature. Before the age of human awareness, according to the ancient Hindu text of India, Manu the All-Knowing was seated in contemplation when the great men approached him and asked him, "Please, Lord, tell us precisely and in the proper order the laws of all the social classes, as well as of those born in between." Manu proceeded to tell of a time when the universe as we know it was in a deep sleep, and the one who is beyond the range of senses brought forth the waters and took birth himself as Brahma, the grandfather of all the worlds. And then to fill the land, he created the Brahmin, the highest caste, from his mouth, the Kshatriya from his arms, the Vaishya from his thighs, and from his feet, the Shudra, the lowest of the 4 varnas, or divisions of man, millennia ago and into the fullness of time. The fragment from which each caste was formed foretold the position that each would fill and their placement in order in the caste system. From lowest to highest, bottom to top, the Shudra, the feet, the servant, the bearer of burdens, the Vaishya, the thighs, the engine, the merchant, the trader, the Kshatriya, the arms, the warrior, the protector, the ruler, and above them all, the Brahmin, the head, the mouth, the philosopher, the sage, the priest, the one nearest to the gods. The Brahmin is by law the lord of this whole creation, according to the laws of Manu. It is by the kindness of the Brahmin that other people eat. Unmentioned among the original four Varnas were those deemed so low that they were beneath even the feet of the Shudra. They were living out the afflicted karma of the past. They were not to be touched, and some not even to be seen. Their very shadow was a pollutant. They were outside of the caste system, and thus outcasts. These were the untouchables, who would later come to be known as Dalits, the subordinate caste of India. In the words of the sacred text of the Western world, the Old Testament, there had been a great flood. The windows of heaven had opened, along with the fountains of the deep, and all of humankind was said to have descended from the three sons of the patriarch Noah. By divine instruction, they survived the floodwaters in an ark for more than 40 days and 40 nights, and thereafter Noah became a man of the soil. His sons were Shem, Ham, and Japheth, who would become the progenitors of all humanity. One season, Noah planted a vineyard, and he later drank of the wine of the fruit of the vineyard. The wine overtook him, and he lay uncovered inside his tent. Ham, who would become the father of a son, Canaan, happened into the tent and saw his father's nakedness, and told his two brothers outside. Shem and Japheth took a garment and laid it across their shoulders. They walked backward into the tent and covered their father's nakedness. Their faces were turned in the other direction, so that they would not see their father unclothed. When Noah awoke from his wine and found out what Ham had done, he cursed Ham's son Canaan and the generations to follow, saying, "Cursed be Canaan, the lowest of slaves will he be to his brothers." The story of Ham's discovery of Noah's nakedness would pass down through the millennia. The sons of Shem, Ham, and Japheth spread across the continents. Shem to the east, Ham to the south, Japheth to the west, it was said. Those who decreed themselves the descendants of Japheth would hold fast to that story and translate it to their advantage. As the riches from the slave trade from Africa to the New World poured forth to the Spaniards, to the Portuguese, to the Dutch, and lastly to the English, the biblical passage would be summoned to condemn the children of Ham and to justify the kidnap and enslavement of millions of human beings and the violence against them. From the time of the Middle Ages, some interpreters of the Old Testament described Ham as bearing black skin and translated Noah's curse against him as a curse against the descendants of Ham, against all humans with dark skin, the people who the Europeans told themselves had been condemned to enslavement by God's emissary, Noah himself. They found further comfort in Leviticus, which exhorted them, "Both thy bondmen and thy bondmaids, which thou shalt have, shall be of the heathen that are round about you. Of them shall ye buy bondmen and bondmaids." This they took as further license to enslave those they considered religious heathens to build a new country out of wilderness. And thus, a hierarchy evolved in the new world they created, one that set those with the lightest skin above those with the darkest. Those who were darkest and those who descended from those who were darkest would be assigned to the subordinate caste of America for centuries. The curse of Ham is now being executed upon his descendants. Thomas R. Cobb, a leading Confederate and defender of slavery, wrote 240 years into the era of human bondage in America. The great architect had framed them both physically and mentally to fill the sphere in which they were thrown. His wisdom and mercy combined in constituting them thus, suited to the degraded position they were destined to occupy. Slavery officially ended in 1865, but the structure of caste remained intact, not only surviving, but hardening. "Let the Negro have the crumbs that fall from the white man's table," Thomas Pierce Bailey, a 20th century author, recorded in his list of the caste codes of the American South, echoing the Indian laws of Manu. The United States and India would become, respectively, the oldest and the largest democracies in human history, both built on caste systems undergirded by their reading of the sacred texts of their respective cultures. In both countries, the subordinate castes were consigned to the bottom, seen as deserving of their debasement, owing to the sins of the past. These tenets, as interpreted by those who put themselves on high, would become the divine and spiritual foundation for the belief in a human pyramid willed by God, a great chain of being that the founders would further sculpt in the centuries to follow as circumstances required. And so we have what could be called the first pillar of caste, divine will and the laws of nature, the first of the organizing principles inherent in any caste system.